Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Life and Love. In this video I'd like to present the essential message of Christ because Easter has just passed. Of course there's another Easter for the Orthodox tradition next week. I don't really understand why the churches have split the date. The Catholics go after one calendar, the Orthodox after another calendar. What about we go for the normal calendar and come to accord to a date where we both tradition can celebrate in harmony and this his resurrection. But anyway, that's not for me to talk about this. What I like to talk about is that the ego is involved. There's always division. So this is how the church split in two, isn't it? Where the ego is, where the thought is, there's always conflict and there's always division. But Christ's message was one of love. Each one of us has to somehow touch that unconditional love which he talked about and which most masters of all tradition have talked about. So I like just to present few statements from Gospel of Thomas and Matthew, and I choose 4 of his messages, 4 of his teachings, and I like to talk around those, if I may. Let's listen to it first.
Love your brother like your life. Protect him like the apple of your eye. Gospel of Thomas 25. When you come to know yourselves, then you will be known, and you will realize that you are the children of the living Father. But if you do not come to know yourselves, then you exist in poverty, and you are poverty. Gospel of Thomas 3. Enter through the narrow gate. For wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. Matthew 7:13-14. Whoever discovers the interpretation of these sayings will not taste death. Gospel of Thomas 1.
As you can see in the first statement of his Gospel of Thomas 25, he states for us to love the brother. The brother here is all living beings. It's not only your brother, because you might have sisters. So it doesn't make sense only to love a brother. Brother, it's all living beings. So protect them like the apple of your eye. You always protect your eye, it doesn't matter what. It's just a natural thing to do. So when it becomes natural for us to love each one of us, to love a stranger, to love your mother, to love everyone with the same love, then you come to love with the unconditional love, where there's no condition that I love you only because of that, or I love you only because you do this for me, or because you're my mother, or because you're my daughter or son, and so on. So here he talks about touching that unconditional love, which is essential requisite in discovering the reality of who we are and merging into oneness with his consciousness. So the second statement, as I described it before in self-knowledge, it's when you come to know ourselves, so we will be known. and we will realize that we are the children of the living Father. All of us are the same. The children of the living Father means that we are all in the same basket. We live in the same world. We go through the same sufferings. Those sufferings might be different in the way we experience it, but it's still suffering. So he's stating that if we do not know ourselves, if we don't find our own reality, then we'll exist in poverty, and we become that poverty. And if we look in the world today, with all the wars, with all the destruction, with all the hate, with all the conflicts in families, in societies, in countries, between countries, you see that the poverty is there, isn't it? So unless one understands that unconditional love and touches it, we will never get rid of that poverty, which is destruction, suffering. So in the next statement, I put this statement to see that it's not easy to achieve this task. He's stating that in order to enter through the narrow gate, there's another gate which most of people go through, which lead to destruction, suffering, and conflict. But a small gate, it's a narrow, and leads to life, to eternal life, and only few find it. So yes, only few find it because only few are ready to identify themselves with their desires, with their knowing that they are not the body and the mind. Very few can drop all there is and detach from the world in order to find themselves, and then realize that they are the world and the world is they. So the last statement of his is, whoever discovered the interpretation of this saying will not taste death. So once you detach yourself from everything, once you understand that you are not the body and the mind, then the question arises, what is there to die? What is there to let go of? Because you already, one who has attained that state of perfection, let's not call it perfection, let's call it realization of being. Once you realize your own being, you are one with everything. So when one is one with everything, what one has to let go of? Nothing, isn't it? So there's no death, there's no destruction, there's nothing to let go of, nothing to detach from. So it's imperative for each one of us to find that unconditional love. But you see, this unconditional love, at the moment for most of us, it's conditioned by our conditioning, by our beliefs, ideas, by thinking that our culture is better than the other, by thinking that you are only close to the loved ones which you have in your own bubble and in your own world, which is very small. So you might have a lot of friends and you might have a large family, but it's still very small. And therefore, loving only those people and excluding others, that love is conditioned to only that bubble of reality in which each one of us lives. So is there a way to expand this love, to let it grow and to share with more people? even if you don't meet people, but you love them. Because once you crack that condition, once you drop that conditioning, love is there fully, without any images of what life has to give you. Most of us want to always receive, and we always want to receive for free. Very few have transformed themselves into beings of giving, not only of receiving. You see, when you give, and when you have realized that you are one with everything, when you give to yourself. So you give with love, because you know you are the one receiving it. So the joy is there then, in that giving. And there's nothing to receive then, because you always give to yourself, you always plenish yourself. And joy is there, love is there. So his message was of love. And he died on the cross because the people of that time didn't understand his message. And the fear in them has surfaced to such an extent that they could not accept his teachings. They could not accept that he has claimed himself to be not only that God, but he claimed himself that I and the Father are one. So yes, he said that I am God, and he was God. And so are you, and so am I, and so are all of us. So he say that we are the children of the living Father. So we are a part of him, not apart from it. We are a part of this world, not apart from it. So we are also coming out of this world, as a tree also comes out of this world, as a kangaroo or a bird or a fish comes out of this world. So love everyone, love everything. But to open to this love, you have to let go of everything you know, of all the know-how knowledge. If one cannot let go of that, that love is restricted then, and it cannot flow fully to all. So that's why we have so much suffering, so much destruction, so many wars. And I think humanity will still have much more to suffer, much more to go through misery, much more to experience that poverty which we have covered ourselves with, and we cannot let go of it because we think that poverty, with all the desires and all the know-how, it is what we are, but that's not it. So his message was one of love, one of also knowing yourself. Then you'll be known. Then you will discover that you are the children of the living Father. And then you will discover that you are also a part of God and not apart from him. So his message was clear. Of course, he has many more teachings, but I'm not going to go in very detail into his teachings because there are many. And so in video to come, we'll go through more. So maybe next video we should talk about our conditioning. What is the conditioning? How it comes about? And if there's a how to get rid of it. So I hope you had a nice Easter. I hope you find more love in your lives. I hope for the people which will celebrate next Easter next week, they also will find their love. Also for the Hindus and all the other tradition, they will also find in their celebration, in their traditional lineage, in spiritual or no spiritual. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to be a member of a religion to be religious. You can be an atheist and still be a religious man and still be a realized being. So it doesn't matter. Religion is just a part. It is like, I would like to go to Europe. I live in Australia. I take the plane and go to Europe. It's one way to go, isn't it? But I can take the ship too and go by ship. So there's many ways to a destination. So religions are only ways to the same destinations. But it's not we. The ego has distorted the teachings of religions and have taken this teaching and through this teaching controlling people, controlling societies. So we have to get rid of that control, that authority, because that unconditional love which Christ, Krishna, Buddha, and all of them spoke about, it doesn't come with any authority. It doesn't come with any autocracy. It's free. So we need to touch that love, and that freedom is there also. So in the next video then we'll talk about the conditioning of our minds and see what is involved then. I wish you have a nice day. I wish you touch that unconditional love which Christ talked about. And I wish you all the best. Bye bye until next time.